Good morning, everybody. I'm Bryce. That's Chase. We've been full-timing in this for 3 years now. Today, we actually get to go somewhere. I'm pretty excited. Sorry, we're both battling allergies right now, so bear with us. But if you haven't watched our first video, Chase works 6 days a week and has only 1 day off. And because of how this plant is, because of how this plant is, I'm not able to use the truck during the week, so I actually get to go somewhere, which I'm pretty excited about. And we figured, as we take you along, kind of, I guess, how we sightsee for the day, we're gonna tell you what other jobs are out there that are traveling jobs that no one talks about. I haven't heard anyone talk about these jobs that we're gonna talk about today. Yeah, I'm really excited. This might be a long video, so it might be 2 parts, it might be 1 part. So let's go. We're gonna go to Virginia Beach. I don't really know what we've been there before for a couple hours 1 year, and that's about it. So yeah, let's go. Okay, before we give you a list of the jobs, traveling jobs, a few things. We don't know how much these jobs make because every company is different, so we're just gonna let that out there. And then we don't know about benefits. For Chase, we don't do any of the benefits. We don't do any of the health insurance or anything like that. We do our own health insurance just because Chase works for a bunch of different companies. So I just want to let y'all know before we start. But what's probably one of the other jobs that we've seen on the road?
For power plants, refineries, you got hole watches, fire watches, helpers, pipe fitter helpers, welder helpers, and so forth.
But those don't require any sort of skill.
They don't, yes.
Well, I mean skill is in this way. Chase, he's a welder, so that is a skill. These other ones, they'll train you how to do your job. Like, I've done fire watch, I've been a helper before, and those don't require any skill. You're pretty much there to do whatever needs to be done. For the fire watch, you just stand there with a fire extinguisher and you keep watch, and then once they're all done, you wait 30 minutes to make sure nothing catches on fire. So like, that doesn't require a skill per se. They do all the training there for you. I've done one job where they paid per diem and travel, and I was a fire watch. And then I did another job the following month, and I only got hourly, and that's it.
Virginia Beach.
If you want to travel, but you're like, man, I don't really have like a skill set, there are a lot of jobs where they'll train you how to do it. Now, they don't pay as much as like a welder or a fitter, but
you can still make
some good money.
You can still make some really good living.
All right, so what are some skill-based jobs? So we talked about some jobs that don't require some skills. What are some skill-based jobs?
And we're just touching on just a small portion of jobs that don't require a specific set of skill that they will teach you when you get to the job. Skill sets would be welding, pipe fitting or fitting, machining, there's scaffolding, there's millwrights,
crane operators,
and then in the nuclear industry, you've got radiation protection, then you got insulators as well over the broad spectrum of the industry, insulators, painters, coaters. There's
electrical.
Yes, electrical, electricians.
But I think down the road, where we're at right now, there's a bunch of people at an RV park, and they're working at a solar panel farm. So that could also be, I've never heard of that before. So that's also.
I have not done one of those.
I
probably won't ever do one of those.
But that could also be, I mean, I don't know what that looks like, but I thought that was really neat. And then linemen's a big thing too, traveling linemen.
Yeah. I don't know much about that. I just know power and oil and gas sectors, what we do for a living. There's so many different trades that we're not going to be able to touch on just because I don't want to speak for those other trades and give misinformation.
Yeah. We just know what we've seen at different RV parks.
We're excited about sharing this information with everybody because there are so many people that want to be able to get out and with their families, but maybe the big holdup is, well, how are we going to be able to make money? Because you still got to have bills. Some people may not sell their home. They want to keep a home base, but those who don't have a home base or are on the fence of selling everything and living in a recreational vehicle, I say do it, and it will work out. It will work out, because there are so many jobs out here that are contract that you can make a great living and get to see beautiful parts of the country, go overseas.
Now, I will say for us, we don't meet many people within the blue collar industry that travel. We don't meet many people that are like us in the sense of we live full time out of our camper. If we do meet blue collar workers that have a camper, usually they go home. Afterwards, they have a home base, and it's usually just whoever is working there is in the camper. You don't really meet a lot of families that are traveling in the camper full time. So I just want to like throw that out there. We are very rare. We
would like to see more.
Oh, absolutely.
Families come with their husbands, and we by no means. I mean, we would love for everybody to.
Yeah.
But that's one thing we don't want to do is make it seem like we're pushing people to do it, because some people just want to still stay near their friends and family, and some want to go off. And
we're just sharing with y'all what we see and what we do. We're not telling anyone like this is what you need to be doing or this is how you need to be doing it. This is what we've experienced. So this is actually the first job in I think about 3 years where there have been other wives at the RV park, and that's never happened before. So I'm just letting you know, if you do this thinking that, oh my gosh, there's going to be like so many other wives or so many other families out there.
There may not be.
There may not be, and that's just part of it, and that's
but
okay.
The way to navigate that would be to try to find more of a resort style RV park that you could stay at while the husband or wife works, which would allow for a better, chance of there being kids and being more family oriented instead of just blue collar RV parks like the one we're at the moment.
Yeah, because the RV parks, like I mentioned in I think like the second video, the blue collar RV parks we stay at are very much you're there just to work, full hookups, nothing fancy. So it's not what I feel like a lot of people kind of portray RV parks. If you look like on YouTube or Instagram, and they make it seem like this lavish like resort RV, that's usually not where we stay at. So we're just letting you know, if you come along with us, we would love to have you join us on this adventure with the blue collar traveling, but we just want to keep it real on what we've experienced. As you can see, Kenai really enjoyed Virginia Beach.
Yes. He's tired, very tired.
He barely even walked. There was a good amount of people there. It wasn't busy, but there was a good amount of people there.
Very overcast. It's still a little warm, but not too.
A little windy.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting. If you're on the East Coast and you'll know, or West Coast, you know what I'm saying, is here on the East Coast, there's a lot of sand until you actually hit the water. The West Coast, like California, like Southern California, there's not much sand and then there's the water. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But Virginia Beach, they had a bike lane along the beach for bikers, so that was kind of cool. It seemed like you could rent bikes too, 2 and 2, but that was pretty neat. Got lunch, and then pretty much came back. We didn't stay very long because we just wanted to see it, grab something to eat, and come back. That's pretty much how, if we go to places that are heavily populated like that, we don't really stay very long because we're not big city folk. So we go, we see, and then we leave. But yeah, that's wasn't too bad. But food was really good. Did you like the food?
I did. It was great.
Got smoothies, smoothie bowl, and yeah. Now we're heading back. We got groceries, and so much fun.
Home sweet home.
Home sweet home.
Back at it for another week and a half.
Yep.
At work, and that's it. And then we're off to Colorado.
Yep, pretty excited for that. But I hope that helps with blue collar jobs. Now there are other jobs that you could do for traveling that are seasonal, like resorts, small mountain towns. A lot of them will need, people, chefs, bartenders at different restaurants and stuff, or even retail in these smaller towns. So that's always an option as well. Now, you will probably be there for like the whole season, then you can leave, so you're not moving around a whole lot. So just keep that in mind.
One of the RV parks that we've stayed at in Colorado is always looking for chefs, waitresses, waiters, maintenance, RV park hosts at one of the RV parks in Colorado that we go and visit from like mid-May to mid-October before they shut the RV park down for the winter.
Yeah.
And then we also have driven by a couple of RV parks that are open up year-round that aren't too far from ski resorts. So, that's always an option as well. If you've got a camper and are willing to kind of set it up for heavy winter, you could work at a ski resort as well, which would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And at the ski resorts, you can do not just like the actual ski lifts and stuff. There's a whole bunch of different jobs at ski resorts as well. So it's not just, ski lifts, which that is a possibility. But the most common that people kind of hear of when it comes to traveling jobs are like traveling nurses, work camping, or any remote work. Those are kind of the main ones you hear a lot of people doing. We're kind of more in the blue collar section, but hope that gives you all some ideas. I know some people will actually do reselling on the road. Now that does require internet because you'll have to like print labels and post stuff whatever platform you use. So that's always an option. If you do decide to go that route, I really encourage you to see if you like it first before you get into your camper. Make sure weight as well, that you're not hauling a bunch of stuff that you're trying to like resell, either eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, different things. I know some people, they'll like do Etsy as well, so they'll create stuff and ship stuff, but just kind of keep weight in mind, and also try to do it a little bit as a side before you move into the camper, so that way you're making money, not expecting that you're going to go full time and that's going to cover all your costs, because that would stink. That would really stink. You get in there like a few months later and then you're having to figure out something else. But hope that gives you some options.
I think if you're wanting to make good money, decent money, and be able to live comfortably, I think going into the construction field, in specific, the industry that I'm in, I can speak for that. It's contract work, so it's more hourly, more per diem money, and you're there for a short amount of time and then they lay you off. And you go to the next one, or you just take off and go on a vacation, like we do most of the time. And opposed to work camping, where you're gonna be there for several months or years, however you want to work that out, and work for a lot less, because they don't really need to pay you that much. Even though you'll probably get your lot rent at the RV park paid for since you're there, but you might get a a lower wage, and sometimes you'll get a free meal if there's a restaurant that they have there at the resort or RV park. So that's always a plus as well. But can you justify that free meal and lower wage? Unless it's like we've even talked about, if it's a nice area and we want to go and explore there and hang out for a little while, for a few months, 2, 3, 4 months, then sometimes it's worth just meeting your bills and not making anything extra and just enjoying life. So
I think a lot of people don't understand that you can make a good amount with the blue collar traveling.
Yes.
I think it's kind of a misconception that blue collar jobs just don't make a lot. Now, I'm not going to speak for all of them because I don't know how every single one does, but you can make a fairly decent living doing, especially the traveling, because you are getting the per diem, and a lot of times you're getting travel there and travel, we call it travel in and travel out money as well. And you're getting that overtime time and a half when you're working, 72, 84 hours a week,
yes,
which really makes a huge difference. It's just something to keep in mind. And also, I think you have to ask yourself, how often do you want to travel around? Are you wanting to move around a whole lot? Then you kind of need to figure out what job is going to work best, because work camping, a lot of times you're there at one place for a while. For us, we can be at a place for a month to 6 weeks and then we move on to the next one.
Yes.
So it just kind of, depends on what you want to do. Hope that helps. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. We'd love to help you out as any way we can. Or follow us on Instagram at Sparks and Rex. You can message us there and we'll try to get back to you as soon as we can if you have any questions. Hope that kind of helps and answers some questions about what else you can do on the road. We've seen a bunch of different jobs. You can get pretty creative of how to make money on the road. I know one person does screen printing, just has a kit, screen prints and ships them off to people. So that can always be something that you want to do. Just keep in mind, if you make something out of your camper, just kind of in the back of your mind, think of weight too, because you don't want to have a lot of heavy stuff, a lot of heavy equipment, and be traveling around with it.
Storage supply,
yes.
Supplies. I know when Bryce baked a lot, we were never overweight. It was just.
There's a lot of packaging stuff,
yes,
a lot of stickers and labels, because I used to do farmers markets for baking, and I had all the packaging for all that stuff. I had all the labels, all of the setup stuff for the tables. I even had an extra table as well. So you kind of need to keep in mind of how much storage do you have in your camper that you can allot for it. If it's smaller stuff, if you're doing jewelry or handmade things, then you can kind of get away with it. But if you have bigger items, I was using plastic, we call them clamshells, that I would sell stuff in, and that would take up a good amount of space. So just kind of keep in mind, space and weight if you're wanting to create something, and start doing it now and building it before you go full time, if you can, if it's possible, so that way you're already generating that income before you go full time.
But with the construction, what I do, all you need is a pair of safety boots. That's safety toe work boots, and jeans and a long sleeve shirt. That's all you need. They'll supply you the hard hat and any other tooling or safety PPE, personal protective equipment, safety glasses, all that. They'll provide that. That's what's so great about it. And you just show up and you're collecting a paycheck.
Yeah, because I know for me, when I started with him, that's a good point. So I needed to go buy a few pairs of jeans, some long sleeves, and a pair of work boots. I did buy a bigger jacket because it was February and cold, and that was pretty much it. That's all I needed to buy. I didn't have to buy anything else. They provided the safety glasses, the gloves, really anything that I needed, they had there. So you really don't need that much to start out. For
your general laborer, helper, fire watch, hole attendant, all you need is safety toe work boots, pants, jeans, and a long sleeve shirt, and you're making money.
Yep, and then you're good to go. But hope that helps some people out with getting some ideas. I know a lot of people do more remote work for full-time RVing, which is great because you can, you know, pretty much travel and pick your destinations if that's what you want to do. That's great. But for us, we, you know, like doing the construction because we don't have to work year round. We work 8-9 months out of the year and then take off and do whatever we want for the rest of the year. So there's just there's other options out there, because I know a lot of people don't like working from a laptop all the time or remote work. Or if you don't really want to do work camping, there's a bunch of other options out there. So really, a lot of people get creative with it. So hope that helps.
And with what I do, there is no commitment. I mean, yes, they will say 3 weeks, and yes, it would be in your best interest to finish the job. But if you get there and this is not for me, this is just not what I thought it was going to be, then just leave. It is what it is. You may not get called back because you left, but hey, at least you tried it and you know. But even if you do leave, I've left before just because sometimes it just doesn't work out with that company. They've called me back. Have I gone back? Not necessarily, but they just need people that are willing to come to work, because it's sometimes very hard for these companies to find people that are willing to work.
But do you think it's harder to find workers that are willing to travel?
It is. For instance, if you're in Houston, where there's several refineries and power plants and chemical plants, where you don't have to ever leave that area. You may not get per diem, or the per diem may be significantly lower. You're able to open yourself up to being able to travel outside of the state you're in or the area you're in. You will make a lot more money and you will get called a lot, because it is hard to find people that are willing to go afar to work.
And on top of that too, it does seem like there's quite a few people that we've been talking to lately that want to get off the road as well. Yeah, there's a lot, and I understand traveling may not be for everyone, and that's totally understandable. We're not trying to convince you that you need to come and do this, but we're just giving people the option and showing people what we do, how we do it. So there are plenty of jobs out there that travel in the construction.
I mean, you may want to start a business up, whatever business that might be, or might want to go back to college or to school for something. This is one of the best ways to do it, is in the construction industry, because as soon as you start out, you're making good money. I mean, even helpers and laborers are making, you know, they're hourly and per diem, and it's still great money. Then they can use that to go and start their business up, or help grow it, because they need to buy a piece of equipment to, you know, help their business out.
Yeah. We're not saying this is like the end all be all, like if you commit, this is what you have to do. I mean, we've worked with, I don't know how many different companies, especially you, worked with so many different companies. And I mean, they'll call you up and say, hey, what are you doing? Because they're always looking for jobs. And we know people that are doing this so they can save money for their own business that they want to start up. And, you know, some people, they will work year round doing this. Now, we don't do that, because we see ourselves doing this for a very long time. So we kind of pace ourselves, per se. But for those that are doing this year round, they're doing it because they want to get off the road for various reasons. So they're trying to stock up so that way they can get off the road. Hope that helps. If you found any value in any of this at all, please subscribe, because that would be awesome. Especially if you made it this far, then you should subscribe, because there are a ton of y'all that watch this and are not subscribed. So it's just a click of the button, y'all. Please. Pretty please. If there's anything that we haven't touched on when it comes to traveling jobs that you do, or you know someone that does, drop them in the comments. We're all about helping other people out, seeing what other people do, traveling on the job. It surprises me, but also doesn't surprise me what people come up with when it comes to these traveling jobs. I always love seeing what people come up with. Hope that helps as well. So yeah, I think that might be it for this video. If you have any questions about what Chase does, I'll leave the link to our very first video. Kind of explains more about what Chase does for work. But if you have any questions, drop them below. We'll try to answer them as best as we can. We'll see you all later.
Peace.